It seems like I got nothing to do. Hit up Sim Standard Radio. I'm listening to one of the top podcasts, and they bringing you the real. And when they talk sports, it feels like you on the field. From real talk to real sports, from Madden to 2K. Just listen for one day. They'll grab you when you say it's on the net, man. Turn off your stereo, not music. I mess with Sim Standard Radio.
What's up, guys? What's up, guys? Sim community, Sim gamers alike. What's going on, man? Welcome to another episode of Sim Standard Radio. This is episode 77, man. Like I said, we're getting close to that 100 mark. We're moving right along. And we're definitely, happy to bring another show to you. First and foremost, man, we definitely want to give a huge shout-out to Jive Turkey. We always thank him for providing the intro. Definitely appreciate that. But we got a great show lined up for you tonight, guys. And right now, as of right now, I am the only host here on the show tonight. I'll give a few minutes to see if Azur and Smitty will come on to the show. If they don't, well, this is a perfect night for that to happen because we actually have special guests tonight. Definitely want to go ahead and give you a preview of that. We have Cameron Irvine, and you guys know him from SFL, great play-by-play commentator, as well as Mike Peters. You guys may know him as PX1 Sports. And these guys are definitely going to be on the show tonight, man. We're happy to have them. We'll talk about a lot of things, but primarily we just want to talk about these guys, how they got started, doing the play-by-play commentary for a lot of the games that we all know and love. Definitely we know from APF, All Pro Football. That's pretty much when I got introduced to Cameron, as well as Mike came on a little later, and now him and Cameron have teamed up together, and they've actually done a Madden season, and they've made the game very entertaining. I mean, if you guys have not heard these guys in action, you're definitely missing out, and I'm not going to take any thunder from them. I will let them provide you guys with their contact information and things of that nature. I'll do all of that. I'll get those guys, when they come on, let them introduce themselves. But we got a great one lined up for you guys, and definitely, I do see my buddy Azur Fack is on the show right now. So, like always, going to throw it to him, check on him, see how his week was, ask him again how he feels about his current Titans, and then, I'll give my piece. And then by that time, I'd assume Smitty will probably be on as well. So, what's up, AZ, man? How was your week, man? And, I'm waiting to hear that commentary about the Titans.
Man, I have to excuse me if you hear me hacking. I got a little under the weather, but under the weather and fired, man. Listen, we talked the past 2 weeks. Every time, you ask me about my sigh, I don't have a sigh right now, even though I don't think it's entirely on the coach, because the coach, is only part of the equation. The players have to make plays as well. But not franchise, it's a lot that we can talk about on this, because if you haven't been into, because, I'm pretty sure you all have a national perspective, but on the local radio station, talking about how this might have been coming for weeks, and that losing in Houston, because, the Titans, originally the Houston Oilers, are based from Bud Adams' family and controlling owner, who is Adam Strunk, who I believe is Bud's daughter. It's Bud's daughter. And he, in the passing, has, gave to her. And she, seeing them get beat the 6 at the game, I'm pretty sure that her colleagues who live in Houston, like, man, our new franchise just beat the crap out of your franchise. Sacked the quarterback 7 times, was hit 14 times, and it's a good thing it wasn't Mariota. Mettenberger took those hits. So, the inability to leave backs and tight ends in the chip and let J.J. Watt go one-on-one with a rookie. Now we have Mike Mullarkey, who doesn't have a good head coaching record either, but he said things that we'll see what Sunday. knows? It could be that the Titans needed, because every time somebody gets fired from their job, it kind of brings a little light to you. If people can relate to that. If the person that brought you in gets fired, you kind of like on notice, hey, I could be going out here too. So, we'll see if it is anything. Rustin Webster, who was the general manager, and Smitty can talk about his lines as they just fired almost everybody else.
Yeah.
So, it was not a good year for that year of coaches that got hired. Jay Gruden, Mike Zimmer are probably the best hire, doing well with the Vikings, but Mike Zimmer, Ken Wisenhunt, Jay Gruden, Jim Caldwell, it was Gus Bradley. He might have been the year. But either way, the year of coaches being hired the past couple of years has not really turned out that well. So, I don't know, man. We'll see. I'm anxious to see what concepts and philosophies change, because they're not going to change the entire offense, but they are going to try to protect Mariota, who should be ready to play. And they're going up against a Saints team that put 52 points on the board. So it should be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I expect us to get back to and you have, some history with Malarkey. He used to be the Steelers coach back in the day. So, I mean, we got two Steelers coaches. Wisenhunt's the one that's gone, but I think there's a few names out there that I would love to see as a Titans head coach. And one of them is Hugh Jackson, the coordinator for the Bengals. As you'll see, they'll play tonight. But he's done wondrous things with Andy Dalton. He had a stint with the Raiders, and I think his players played hard for him. But he's an offensive mind that can get something out of a young quarterback. And that's what Mariota needs. The LeBeau and the defense are not the problem. They've been playing. They're playing for LeBeau, as you well know. People will run through walls for LeBeau. But on offense, we're not getting it done. I think we're ranked 28th in the league in offense. So has to change there. You have to, control the clock, protect Mariota, run the ball. And I think, we'll see a different Titans team going forward. They practiced this week going forward on the running game with Antonio Andrews. I don't know if you've seen. I think you hit me up one time and was like, yo, who is this Andrews cat? He's a guy that, a big back. And we have David Cobb, who is also a big back, coming back as well. So, Ken Wisenhunt said those things, but we never really had an identity under Wisenhunt. He always liked versatility. And sometimes when you're versatile, you don't have an identity, because you want to be a Swiss knife instead of just saying, yo, we're going to go out here, we're going to punch people in the mouth, we're going to play hard, and this is what we're going to do. This is our brand of football. So instead of that, Ken Wisenhunt liked versatility, so we had Sankey and Andrews and McCluster, and all of them can be used, but at the base of it, you got to be a tough and physical football team if you're a Titans team. And hopefully that's what we get back to this week. So, I don't know. The verdict is out. We'll see. If things change, Malarkey is shuffling some people on the offensive line. He's going to move Putasi to guard, which anybody on the offensive line knows that's a better way to hide somebody, because when you're out there on the island against those ends, it's a little harder to do. So they're going to move Byron Bell to right tackle. He has experience in the league, and move Putasi inside to guard. So hopefully that helps as well. And what do offensive linemen like to do? Run the ball. So if you run the ball more, and, offensive linemen don't like to pass protect 40 and 50 times a game. I mean, I understand if maybe you got Peyton Manning back there and he gets the ball off really quick. But in our situation, Mariota's not Peyton right now. And he doesn't have a run game to complement that either. So we'll see going forward, man. I don't know. I can't say I'm encouraged or discouraged by the Wisenhunt firing, but I am kind of excited to get a new creative mind to kind of work with this offense and hopefully bring out the talents. But as bad as our record is, the funny thing is we're only 1.5 games out of the division lead, which is sad. The AFC South is a dumpster fire, and with the Texans, Colts, and Jags all having below subpar 500 records, it's kind of like that year the NFC South was all terrible, but I think we might even be worse than that. Even though we've been in some games, we've only been blown out. I think two games this season that was like that was the Texans game, and we still lost. We lost by 14, and then the Miami game, I think we lost by like 17 or 20. So other than that, combined, the other 4 losses were all combined by 6 points. So we'll see if we can, get a difference made this weekend. Tell us about your Steelers experience, man. And I know you hate to see that boy go down.
Man, it's crazy because, you hear people say when an injury happens, it takes the life out of the stadium. And unfortunately, I was there to witness that. And I'm like, and it's crazy because I know some of you guys may have seen it on YouTube. I didn't even realize I had recorded that play. Because, every time I go to the game, I'll record, like, random plays, just to be like, first down drive or, whatever the case. And it just so happened I recorded that play when he went down. And you can even hear in the video how people like, yeah, Bill. They cheering until we could see, wait a minute, this dude's not getting up. It was crazy. Like, the whole atmosphere it was like you could hear a pin drop. Because everyone, when somebody goes down and they hop up 2 or 3 minutes later, you're just like, okay, maybe it's not that serious. But he didn't let his knee go the whole time. When they got him up, he kind of walked on his own power, but very gingerly. And when I said immediately, I was like, yo, that's the ACL or MCL, because how many times have you seen players get up and walk on it? And then they showed the play on the big screen in the stadium, and you see how he got twisted. I was like, that's not good. That is not good. And then, of course, here comes the cart. And it's like, oh, man.
Getting up from that one. That was nasty.
It was nasty, man, because, from where we were sitting at.
There wasn't ACL and MCL, you know what I mean?
Right.
It's just the MCL.
Yeah, and definitely, from the seat, just like in the video, you can't really tell exactly. You can see what happened, but then when you saw it on the replay, I was like, ooh. So, then I was thinking, like, oh, this is real bad. I was just praying for him, man. I'm hoping it wasn't like a break somewhere or a dislocation or what have you, but it is what it is, man. Injuries happen. There's no way I can sit here and try to, with a straight face, say, oh, we just got to move on. It's going to be a tough one. But I think the offense should be powerful enough to, D'Angelo Williams can carry the mail. He's serviceable. So we'll see. But real quick, man, just to get on how I feel about the game, and then, I'll throw it to Smitty and let him tell us how his week was. Man, bottom line, we had that game. It was a very defensive game. The defense keeps surprising me because y'all hear me on 1 week, I'll say, I don't know about this secondary. And then the next week, they come out and they play. Like, look at what they've done against arguably 2 of the best offenses in the league. We shut down the Cardinals and hold them to 13. We hold Cincinnati to 16. 1 touchdown. And that touchdown didn't come until late in the fourth quarter. I don't know what this defense is so like. It's like they got bipolar. One time they on it, the next time they off their mind. You let Kansas City put up 23. How does that happen with no real weapon? You understand what I'm saying? Now, A.J. Green got off. That's A.J. What you going to do? But as much as y'all hear me cuss out Antoine Blake, I don't cuss him out. I just think he's out of position. He always seems to make a play. I mean, literally, y'all, when I was in the stadium, I was like, get him off of A.J. Green. He gets an interception right on that play. And so it's like, it's give and take, but I still feel like they need to move him inside the slot and let somebody, I say put Cockrell on the outside and Gay on the outside, and there you go. Move Blake inside because he's feisty. I like his tenacity. I just think he's undersized, man, and you saw it. A.J. was torching him. But anyway, just to wrap this up, Big Ben Big Ben really was the reason why we lost that game with his rust and the turnovers. Those turnovers killed us. Let's just call it what it is. You know, I'm not ready to throw Ben away as, you know, some emotional fans were saying, get rid of Ben. I'm like, okay, really? You serious? I ain't ready to say that. But, you know, it happens. You could see he was forcing it, man. You could just see it. He's trying to, you know, it's Cincinnati. It's a big game. He's back from injury. I knew there was going to be a little bit of rust. But what kind of tricked us, on the opening drive, we go right down and score. So all of the people, I mean, you know, when you're at the game, you're talking to people you don't know. We all in the stadium like, yo, my man ain't showing no rust. This looks too easy. We're going to have a game here. And then we never saw the end zone again. So bottom line, man, it's 10-6 with like 4 minutes left. All we needed was one more drive, and we win that game easily. You throw an interception, and then you come, like you force that one on the sideline. That killed us. Then you throw another one when we down 13-10. And, again, the defense held each time. They kept them out the end zone, and we still had an opportunity even late to almost, you know, get a touchdown and win. That's just crazy. And let me speak on the timeouts real quick, and then I'll pass it to Smitty. I don't have a huge problem at what Tomlin was doing. After he explained it, I understand it now. He said, you know, he wanted to keep that one timeout for the offense so they could work the middle of the field. Makes sense. Where the conventional way, of course, you call all three of them before the 2-minute warning and just let the team do that. And if it works, it works. But the way I kind of look at it, at the end of the day, we still had a shot to score. So when you look at it like that, you can't use the hypotheticals and be like, well, if there was more time, we don't know that. What we also don't know is if we started using timeout, maybe Cincinnati does a different play call and they pick up a first down. You know what I mean? So I can understand people being critical of the decision, but once again, you got emotional people out here say, oh, he's a bad coach. Like, seriously? Come on, man. Let's come on. Let's stop saying that. I'm tired of people saying that Mike Tomlin is a bad coach. If you don't like him, that's cool. But I can't find a reason where I could say he's a bad coach, being that he's the winningest coach in Steelers history. He has a Super Bowl. Like I said, the highest winning percentage. He takes calculated risk, and when they pay off, we talk about, oh, he has guts, like in the Charger game. So I just can't stand those fans like that. Like I love guys here on this show.
If y'all don't want to take him, I love
he's a player coach, man. Like every player that comes from Pittsburgh is like I would do anything for this dude. But anyway, you know, as a coach, you can't win, man. Because look at Belichick that year when he went for it. I forgot who they was playing. I think it was a coach or somebody. He goes for a 4th and 2 on their own 30. And they didn't get it. You know, you going to call him a bad coach? But that's just how I feel, man. But the last thing I would say is that 4-4, we're in trouble. We have to win and continue to win because right now we're looking at a wild card. That's about the best that we can get. Cincinnati is running away with it, man. But anyway, let's go ahead and move it along, guys. We're going to forward to Smitty, see how Smitty is doing, and then we'll definitely bring our guests on the show. But, yeah, what's going on, Smitty, man? How was your week? And, definitely reflect on the recent firing of some folks out there in Detroit.
Yeah, week's good. Week's been going good. Getting everything adjusted, acclimated, with the baby and all. As I'm walking around with her right now, holding her while she's sleeping a little bit here. But as far as the firing, it's like, yeah, they did it. Is it a big deal? Technically it is, but honestly it's not. Because honestly, our team was not a playoff squad. We weren't a playoff squad before this season begun. It's just because, and it's honestly only because the record we got, they made this move. And it's like, I'm like, think of it. if this team if we had all the pieces that we had, nothing would have been said. Nothing would have been done, especially if they had a winning record, which they probably would have, considering the way the games were playing out at that point. Probably would have, they may not have the exact same record, but nevertheless, though, it's like, yeah, we lost. Think about, like, and I said this for the past few weeks. Look at who we lost. We lost Sue. We lost Sue Fairley, C.J. Mosley, Andre Fluellen, George Johnson. We lose those guys. Then on top of that, let's see who we occasionally lost during the course of the season. We had games where we didn't have Joyke Bell, Haloti Ngata, Ebron, Calvin at the same time, mind you. All these dudes gone. Levy, which was by far our stud, gone. In the preseason, mind you, goes down to injury, comes back in week 4, I think it was, re-aggravates the injury, goes ahead and has surgery done for the year. We get Stephen Tulloch back, who's, I'd say he's playing 60% of himself because I'm pretty sure he's conscious since that injury. That's how he looks when I see him play. And, I mean, I can't blame him, but, and then on top of that, the secondary that was not that good last year because it got to look good because of that front seven, they're getting exposed as they should be. So how are we this winning squad that was supposed to be like what some people said? We're supposed to be a 9-7, 10-6 squad. So you're telling me we're 2 losses deeper than what we were last year and we lost all that talent? Yeah, right. Our squad was not that good. So to see this move done, it's like, yeah, it should have happened 5-6 years ago, to be honest. It should have happened when the team went 0-16, that's when that should have happened. Not now. Oh, yeah, now's the time to do it. No. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm glad it happened, like I said, but see, this is still the question. With this firing, I mean, I see ESPN made some recommendations and all that in terms of who the Lions, some people they should possibly look for. But at the same time, though, what are people like? Who are people suggesting? Ain't nobody in Detroit recommended squat. They just saying fire everybody. You know what I'm saying? But this is the other thing too. People got to understand. This may take a heck of a lot longer than what they honestly think. They may not know what they're in for, because this ain't the NBA. This isn't Major League Baseball or NHL. You don't have 82, 84, or 162 games to get it right. You got 16 games a year to work out what you can work out. And Sim, we spoke about this. You can't go about changing up entire schemes and all that stuff in the middle of the season like that. Like, you just can't make dynamic overall changes like 2, 3, 4 times a season. You can't do that. You can't afford to do that. You got to stick with what you got and then adjust accordingly and do the best you can with what you got, even if that means you end up losing out. You see what I'm saying? But that's the thing I'm looking. See, I'm going to be listening to the radio and everything. I want to hear what people going to say, because people got to understand the Detroit Lions are not like some people here in Michigan have the mentality like U of M. They act like they're world beaters. Like, we're just supposed to beat everybody. We're supposed to be this great team just because we made a playoff appearance or something like that, or because we won a championship or something like that or whatever, all of a sudden the next year we should just be just as good, if not better. Like, no, we are not that good. Our team is bad on both sides of the ball, and they need help in every single facet. That's all there is to it. That's just like the Pistons when we won the championship in 2004, but then the very next year we lose. We come back, and on a squad we lose Sheed, Ben, and Rip. And then during the course of the season, Tayshaun and Chauncey both go down for injury, but then we're expected to make it back to the finals. Like, that's not going to happen. That's not real. You know what I'm saying? You got to have a real expectation. Like, our squad is hit. and they need big time help everywhere. There is no one need in the draft that we could say, you know what, we just need to focus here. Like, no, we need to focus everywhere. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, whatever they get in the draft, whatever it is they pick up, it's going to be necessary. They just need to get the best player available. If I prefer it, I would say probably I would say either a corner or an O-lineman. That would be my two suggestions off top. Other than that, this change is just one change of a long ways to go. So we got a mighty long ways to go before we can even talk about this squad being something. So I'm not worried about, like right now people up here hooting and hollering, like, rejoicing and all. But really, this is just one piece of many, many pieces that are going to need to be changed, adjusted, and enhanced upon before we could really talk about the Lions being a legit team. So that's basically all I got to say on that.
Yeah, man, sometimes you have to sit back and realize, what's going on. I mean, as a Steelers fan, I'm hearing it even this season. I mean, even some of the people that I watched the game with, it's like I said, I'm not to insult anybody. But some people, to me, are just, how can I call it? They're like a subpar fan. And what I mean is, I'm a real fan, and I believe the two of you guys are as well. We know our team from top to bottom, from ownership down to the water boy. And I'm just being funny right there. But you know your team. Yeah, y'all hear me say it every week. I still don't know what team we have in Pittsburgh. I think we have the potential to be a solid team, not great because they're rebuilding, but it's a little up and down. And I think in maybe another year, maybe two, that offense I ain't worried about that offense if they can stay healthy. But I think the defense is showing us this year, okay, we're going to beat somebody. But anyway, not to take too much more time, it's just funny to hear people just say, man, I don't know what we're doing out there. What's the defense? Like, do you watch? Mm-hmm. Do you watch the games? You should know. Y'all heard me say, what did I say in the beginning of the season? I don't know what kind of team we got, man. I've been watching preseason, and I just don't know. That secondary and what happens. Tom Brady comes out and light them up. You just got to understand what you have, man. But anyway, definitely want to go ahead and get the guys on the line here. I don't want to take too much more time. Actually, I'm sorry. One last thing I forgot. This is funny. I saw tonight the Steelers have signed Jacoby Jones as a returner. That is hilarious. Just looking at all the history between him and us, like when he was with a Ravens, like the whole Tomlin stepping on the field thing, that is hilarious. But I think he's going to help us in the return game because as fast as Dre Archer was, we never got to see it in Pittsburgh. And we just didn't see it. I mean, I know some of it is blocking, but come on, the great returners make a guy miss, and they at least consistently get 20 to 25 yards on the return. This guy hasn't been able to do it. But
football speed and combine speed.
Yeah, exactly. And
Jacoby Jones. Jacoby Jones has it.
He has it. He's one of those dudes.
He's a returner.
Man.
He's a real returner. Yes.
We'll see what happens. But all right, guys, man, we got a treat for everybody, man. I'm sorry to keep these guys waiting. The way the night is going to go, we're going to bring on Cameron Irvine and Mike Peters. And definitely that's going to be our topic for tonight. I think we're going to have a great discussion. And, guys, that I know you guys are listening, it's up to you guys how long you want to stay on. I would say just to be safe, we want to at least allow about 45 minutes for our calls. So I would say, by 9:15, we probably want to, give that time to the callers. But for the most part, we don't have you guys on any kind of schedule or anything. We're definitely going to get you guys in, and we're going to have a good discussion. And just to prep everyone who's listening, if you want to give us a call after that, you have a question or comment, you can reach us at 516-453-9126. Press 1 to be put in the queue, and we'll bring you in the order that the call was received. And just to do a small introduction again, these two guys here, man, I mean, I came across, I'll say Cameron first, through SFL. I was introduced to that. And, for lack of a better term, I was in love with this commentary style. I was like, wow. Like, this dude sounds like to me, he sounds like that he's done some commentating somewhere. I was like, this is just not a gamer. Like, this has to be somebody who does it amateur or locally or something, blown away by that. And he introduced me to the SFL, and I saw what they were doing with that movement, loved it. You know, that's community involvement. Then, you know, somewhere along the lines, I'm sure they will let us know about that tonight. Like Mike Peters hooks up with him. Here's another guy. I was telling Smitty today, like, listening to the two of them together, it sounds like a real team. You know, you got one guy in Cameron that's more like, you know, play by play by play, and then you have Mike with the color commentary, you know, like the, you know, right on, but he's talking about players specifically, and he has a few jokes here. And I mean, it just sounds like a wonderful team. So we're happy to have these guys on. We're going to go ahead and get them on, let them introduce themselves. Let me make sure I got them both on here. Guys, can you hear me?
I can.
Great. Okay. Welcome to the show, man. You know, like I said, I'll let you guys do your own introductions. We're very happy to have you on tonight, and I think this will be an outstanding discussion. So, you know, definitely if you guys want to go ahead and introduce yourselves, and then, you know, I'll kind of let you know what we'll basically be talking about.
Go ahead, Mike. It's your inaugural show.
All right. Well, I'll go. I'm Mike Peters, also Majesty 95 on a lot of forums and Twitter at Real Majesty 95. Started PX1 Sports a couple years ago, and the idea was just to, you know, create a sim league that was kind of unlike anything anybody's ever seen before. We're trying to do it with Madden right now. We did it a little bit with EA Sports UFC. We looked into MLB and NBA, but, you know, we're just trying to change the way guys think about sim leagues and try to bring it as real as we can get it. And, you know, so far it's been working out pretty good. We're pleased to be on here with you guys. It's an honor to listen to you guys a lot and appreciate it. So that's kind of my introduction.
All right, everyone. I'm Cameron Irvine with the SFL and also with PX1 Sports, and I'm on Twitter at SimulationFL. Me and a few of our league staffers run that. I do have a personal Twitter, but it's just full of work, high school sports garbage, and I'm not a good follower. But you know, we got at SimulationFL, and then our website is SimulationFL.com. I don't know if Mike said, but PX1Sports.com too. But yeah, I've been on the show once before, and when Mike and I, you know, sort of aligned and started working on both projects at the same time, you know, it just made sense to us. And SimFBall, you know, you say we sound like a team, and honestly, you know, I think that stems from our philosophy being, you know, totally 100% aligned in terms of playing the game the right way, and how phenomenal it can be when that occurs on, you know, whether it's you know, with people having a controller in their hand or people just, you know, building a strategy and watching that strategy come to life. Either way, it's the same. You know, simulation football and doing what we believe are the developers', you know, goals and missions when they make the game in the first place, for it to feel and replicate football and video and sports in general, because it's a hard thing to do, to pull off, you know. And me just punching in some HTML wants to give me a headache, and I can't imagine what these guys go through every year trying to get this game built and trying to get stuff out to the people. So you know, that's why we're here, and that's why we do what we do.
Well, definitely, man. Cameron, at least let me say this. I got to apologize. And my mind was telling me that it was Irvine, and I keep saying Irvine. So I apologize for that. But, yeah, and also, Mike, I didn't even realize, like, I know your name as Majesty as well, and I didn't even put two and two together. So forgive me for that. I didn't even realize you. I kept calling you, the guy from PX1. But I'm glad you guys cleared that up and, you know, let us know that it is actually a collective with you two as far as PX1 Sports. And I'm sure we'll shoot a couple questions at you, and I'll go ahead and kick it off, and then after that, Smitty and Mazur can follow up. My question would be, you know, just to get right to the nitty-gritty, you guys, man, however you decided to start doing Madden, I mean, I already knew about the SFL, and I love that. But it just seems like, not like you did something different, but I guess because it's NFL players and such, it seems so more tangible now hearing you commentate that game. So my question would be for you guys is, well, it's a twofold question. How do you feel about Madden in the state that it is, and, you know, what prompts you to go ahead and start commentating Madden? Because I think in the past, Cameron, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, I think you said at one point, like all of us, Madden just wasn't doing it for you, and you just stopped dealing with that game altogether because of AI and things like that. So I'm just curious to know what led you guys back to Madden and how you feel about where they are right now, where they might go in the future.
Where do you want to go, Sim?
Go ahead, Cam.
Oh, okay. All right. Hey, I'm just making sure. So, I'm an interviewer by trade. So, Sim, you gotta address me if you want me to talk.
He's too polite.
But sorry,
that's that's my knowledge area. So thank you for that.
Hey, that's all right, man. Hey, I don't want to come on and run anybody's show. I'm just letting you know. I'm just gonna be stone cold till somebody says something.
Feel free, man. Go ahead. School us.
Madden to me, and you're right. I came on the show. We use All Pro in the SFL. It's just what we prefer, especially since we want everyone to run their own franchise, and it's really a more creative space more than it is an NFL space. Either one is fine. But when Mike sort of when we got together and started talking, I still feel similarly about Madden, but the way that PX1 Sports plays Madden makes those feelings go away. It's incredible not only playing Madden the right way, but watching Madden the right way. It's incredible how much better the game is. It's not that the game is a bad game. It's just easy to fall into the trap of playing Madden and not playing football. And at PX1, they play football. They, if you've got the Jets, Brandon Marshall should be your most targeted player. It doesn't matter that the tight end is easy to get open. It doesn't matter. You shouldn't be looking at Amaro to bail you out. Nobody knows who that is. Or if you do know who it is, you're a hardcore Jets fan or you play a lot of Madden with the Jets. That's the only way you know who that guy is. But Brandon Marshall is your guy if you're playing the Jets. Chris Ivory is your guy playing the Jets. And at PX1, if you've got the Jets to play sim football, you're expected to target Marshall. You're expected to get him open in a variety of different ways. You're expected to, ground and pound, run the ball, and play to the Jets' strengths. Not necessarily, your strengths of your playbook, quote unquote, or anything like that, but to the strength of the Jets and to the strength of and weaknesses of the opponent that you're playing, so that you can be the closest to replicating football with Madden as you possibly can. And Mike has done a fantastic job. The level of detail in terms of how they support and manage that idea and philosophy, done a phenomenal job to try to make that as close to a reality as possible. And I mean, I'll let them take it from there. But that's that's what sort of changed my mind about, okay, Madden played the right way, it can be a great game too.
Well, and to that point, we talked about this not too long ago. I think it was around the playoffs when we were doing the playoffs, and you can be caught up in the community and watching all the negative stuff. That's pretty much on Twitter and different forums. All you see is just all the negative stuff about Madden. But one of the things that a lot of people have said, watching our games and listening to our games is, wow, Madden is a lot better than I thought. And Cam said that the first time he really got into it. He was just like, man, it was so much different. It opens up the game so much differently when you play a sim style. And you really try to focus on playing football the right way. And, that's been our vision since we started. That's the one thing that we wanted to do. And, with all of our leagues, I mean, if we do MLB, we do UFC, stuff like that, all of it's the same. But, Madden's been the one thing that we really focus on the most. And the when we have the most fun with it, people get the most out of it is when we're trying to replicate, real life football as much as possible. And the great thing is about, even though there are flaws in the games, we definitely want to see things improve. The groundwork and the framework that they already have there is really good, and it allows us to do that. So as long as we have the players that are committed to it, like, it allows us to play a great game of football if we want to. And I think that's overshadowed a lot of times, the people that get caught up, and I've done it myself. And I think we've had Twitter conversations about it, about some of the things, the overpowered aggressive catch and stuff like that. But I think when you really get down to it, if you really are wanting to play true sim football and realistic football, I think Madden's a great vehicle for that. And, I think it's our leagues being successful and doing what we are right now, just a product of all the people that we have there that are really bought into that philosophy and, helping us make it what it is.
Go ahead, Smitty.
All right. Well, my question actually is for both of you guys, and either one of you guys can, answer it. There's no preference. Well, actually, the Majesty. I've seen one of the streams, and you guys are commentating, like, are those streams, are they pre-recorded, or is that like live streams, like as those live streams are going on, y'all are just dialoguing dynamically like that? Because
they're live.
That's what really intrigued me. Oh,
well,
wow.
They're live.
Yeah, see.
And the funny thing is when I first met Cam and I started watching him, I told him the same thing. I'm like, when I first started watching them do it, I'm like, man, they must have these recorded, and they're just going over and they're doing it. And then we started talking one day during the stream, and he mentioned something, and I'm like, oh, wow, this is live. Like, I think he, paused the game or something. You could see, the pause screen. I'm like, oh, wow, he's doing this live. I'm like, man, that's impressive. And so, yeah, that's funny that you guys think that. No, I mean, everything's live. Like, we watch it live. We commentate on it live as it's happening. Everything that you're seeing, we're seeing for the first time, just like you are, and which gives it what it is. It could we do it with pre-recorded files and not commentate over it? Probably. Would it be as good and would it be as compelling? Absolutely not. And I think that's the important part, is to try to capture it live and to bring that. And I mean, I think Cam started that with SFL, and he really laid the groundwork for it. It was something I've always wanted to do and kind of had a thought in my head. I was in play-by-play when I was in high school in production class. That's always been in my nature. I just never found the vehicle how to do it. And meeting up with Cam, we've been able to do it. And it's been a lot of fun. And guys have seen that we're getting a lot of attention on Twitter. People seem to like it. Rex has stopped in and he's enjoyed it. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. And yeah, the live part of it makes it what it is, for sure.
Yeah, man, I'll just chime in real quick, Smitty. I sent it to Rex one day, and I'm glad you said that, because some people don't seem to think that Rex or EA pays attention. And I believe as soon as I sent it to him, I said, hey, Rex, and, I hit him up on Facebook, private message. I said, you got to check this out. You got to hear this. I was like, go take a look at this. And just like Majesty just said, he popped in. I mean, this guy, these people are trying to do what we all want. I keep trying to tell everybody that this is the time for the STEM community as a whole to just take advantage of this access. You heard Majesty just say that. Rex came in there. I know they used to come to SFL. They've seen guys' videos. Like, I sent NY Kia's video to Rex, and he was like, oh, yeah, I have seen him already. I like his work. You see what I'm saying? This is the time for us to make a push, because that other crowd out there, the whole freestyle tourney, they've been holding it down longer than us. That's why they got all this crazy stuff that we see in the game that we don't like. But now you're starting to see the corner is turning, and all of us are a reason for that. Not just us guys on the show, but these guys here. This is a great way to represent the community. But I just wanted to jump in and say that real quick. But before I throw it back to Smitty, I don't know, Cam, if you wanted to reply as well, or, I think maybe, Mike took care of that. But, definitely if you have something to say there as well, you can.
Yeah, well, if you can refresh me on the question, I was, Mike and I get lost in our commentary sometimes, so I have to snap back out of it.
No, I was basically asking, like, with it being the live stream the way it is, because, I know that the SFL games were live, but that was CPU and CPU commentary. So, like, with it being, users versus users, and, like, I was just curious, like, was it live? And that's what, Mike pretty much answered it, but that was my whole thing, like, was that live commentary? You know what I mean? Because it's like the vibe you're vibing off of, it's pretty unpredictable because it's a user, you know what I mean? And it's like, who knows how they may play, but it's just the way you guys sound. It's like as if you're sitting right there in the living room with them. You know what I'm saying? And just commentating like as they play. So it's very spot on. That's why it's really intriguing.
Right. So you keep that's the second time I've heard it. You said the SFL were or the SFL was. We still exist. We're just in the off season. Don't be thinking that we're
No, I'm not saying it's done. Like
I just gotta throw it out there. If anyone's like, man, what happened to the SFL? This guy's not doing it anymore. No, but you're right in terms of the user. And the brilliant thing is that it works the same. We might see that the user, has called a specific play, or that that they've called a specific defense. But me as a commentator or as a play-by-play guy, for that helps Mike out because he's able to get a better grip on analysis, maybe a little bit more quicker than you might if you didn't see any play art or anything like that. But for me as a play-by-play analyst, I don't even look at it. I don't want to know what's coming. I don't know on any of those any of those Madden broadcasts on PX1. I don't know if it's a run or a pass. I don't know what they're doing. I'm not paying attention. I'm listening to what Mike's saying, and I'm trying to bounce off him, and I'm trying to do my job to sort of steer the conversation one way or another so that there are those ebbs and flows that make it sound like, you're listening to an NFL game on TV. So for me, if the guy breaks off, a 40-yard run, A, I didn't know that he was going to run, and B, I'm calling it. I haven't seen it before. So, and that's what gives it the dynamic. As soon as you record something and play it back, you have the ability to sort of bounce around and sort of see, what happened in this game? How can I prepare for this? But that's not real. That's like the Pittsburgh fan. That's like the Pittsburgh fan saying, we got to get rid of Big Ben. That's not real. You got to give somebody, you got to give people the dynamics that they're getting while they're watching the game, like on an NFL Sunday or at Heinz Field. So you got to be able to get as close to that as possible, and so that's the whole reason behind the vision and the way that that it's brought out, and the amount of prep time that goes into it is the same as some NFL on Fox crew coming in to Chicago on a windy day and spending 2 days there, doing interviews with players and gathering up all these stats. Joe Buck will spit out some record from 1936, and it's like, well, how the heck did he get that? Well, he's got somebody feeding him information. He's got a pretty sweet gig. Mike and I had to go and do it all ourselves. So, but that again, it's just that next step of realism. That's all we're trying to do here.
Man, it's phenomenal, man. I really love, to chime in real quick and then I'll throw it to AZ. I love the fact, prefer a little bit over the CPU versus CPU, the fact that it's user to user, because how you guys was bouncing off of saying, like, oh, yeah, this guy Clay, he likes to do this and he likes to, that stuff right there makes it seem like so immersive. Because it's almost like you're talking about them like they're coaches. You don't get that with the CPU versus CPU, even though the stuff with SFL is still wonderful. Like, don't get me wrong, but that, user-to-user interaction just added a little, a little sweeter element to it by you referring to play style and things like that, and how he likes to get the run going, and he's going to work Marshawn Lynch. And that kind of stuff is priceless, man. Like you said, doing it live just brings that level of, organic commentary that you just can't get anywhere else if you record it.
And that's, if I can jump in real quick, that's Mike doing his job better than me. So Mike knowing his players, his users, and sort of doing that homework and presenting that homework about his guys and the way that they like to play within the realm of their team. In the SFL, owners build a strategy each week, and they carry out a game plan, and they design their own playbook and all that. So we totally should bring more of that into the broadcast. We just don't, and I should. But yeah, Mike does a great job with that. I agree. It's very immersive.
Well, I know you got a question. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry, Mike. Go ahead.
No. I was just going to touch on that. I appreciate the kind words, and I think what you guys were touching on there is the user versus user experience was something I think that appealed to both of us, and it's kind of one of the things that brought Cam to want to try it. It is different. The CPU versus CPU is great, and there's certain things that you can control, which adds in a lot of different broadcast elements and stuff like that. But, having Madden and having two users squaring off and having, that there's two guys sitting in there playing, grinding, and out battling against each other, it adds a lot to the broadcast. And it's something that it's, I think, relatable to the people that are watching it. If you're watching it, you can picture yourself, you guys tune in for, the championship games or the Super Bowl. You guys know what that's like to play in that situation, and you're trying to win and get to the Super Bowl or win the Super Bowl, and so now you've got two guys that are commentating, talking about what you're doing, and you got people watching. It's a whole new element, something that really hasn't been done before, and it's it's one of the things that we're looking forward to doing, and so far it's been a big hit.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man, it's phenomenal stuff to listen to. Azul, I know you got some questions for the guys, man.
Yeah, when I came across it, man, great work as well. I came across Cam, doing the SFL, and the work that they've done is phenomenal. But when I stumbled across Madden, I was like, this is what I want from my commentary in Madden, because I told Sim and Smitty, it's like it reminds you of that. I think it was Madden 08. If it wasn't 08, it was 07, where they had the local broadcast. It wasn't like excuse my son, TV commentary. It was more local broadcast of radio. Play, and that's the feeling that it gives you when it comes to watching them. Watching and listening to that commentary over it. But Smitty kind of touched on my question because I wanted to know how it was done and if it was live and things of that nature. But I'll go a different route and ask Cam and what's up to Mike too, because me and Mike, we've been conversing as commissioners on Twitter for a long time. And I like what he's done with PX1, and we support that movement. We're about to start our own league as well. Sim Standard Radio is about to start up, so it's going to be a great experience as well, because we've been saying this for a long time, just like you all said earlier, and what got Cam into wanting to do this is the way people play the game. It's not so much the game being bad, but how people play it. I've seen people make NBA 2K look bad, and we all know that it's a great basketball game, but if you have Shaq bringing it up the floor and passing it all around and not running any semblance of offense, then it's going to look terrible. Whereas if you have somebody who runs an actual play part and knows to run horns in this situation, or run a zone against this guy, or run a triangle offense, then it's a beautiful experience. And that's what PX1 does, and that's what Sim Standard Radio does, and that's what we've been supporting and saying all these years, from find your fishbowl and swim in it. And that's what the SFL has done. That's what PX1 done. That's what we're doing in Sim Standard Radio. But I do want to know, just to summarize and make long stuff short. Cam, I guess addressed to you, is who do you look for as a play-by-play guy? Like, who do you like listening to, or who do you look up to as a play-by-play announcer? And, who are some of your favorites to listen to, or just in general, commentary? Who are some of your go-to guys, or you like to, or love to listen to?
Yeah, so obviously, if you've heard my style before, I like when Gus Johnson loses his mind, because he clearly loves the game that he's doing. He's a good guy, and he's not, because he ran to the money, is not on Sundays in your face anymore, and because his style didn't really translate into Madden's commentary. People are just like, okay, this guy needs to calm down because I just converted a first down and he just needs to relax. But I like his energy and excitement. I like I think the Sunday night crew. I used to hate Chris Collinsworth. I used to hate him. He used to drive me nuts. But the more and more I listen to more and more crews, the more insightful I found him to be. Now, he's an analyst, but the way that he works with Al Michaels, and I can't really say that Al Michaels is my favorite. I'm honestly not sure who is. But Al Michaels and Chris Collinsworth work well together, I think. They bounce off each other well, and I think that they bring a level of fun and I don't know how else to describe it, but lack of rigid to the broadcast on Sunday nights. Al Michaels made some sort of tax break political joke like a few weeks ago in the fourth quarter, and Collinsworth, I could tell, was a little stunned that he made such a remark. But you don't hear that very much on your standard, Sunday afternoon broadcasts. And Mike and I like to joke around. I mean, it's a video game after all, and you want to be able to have fun and not always be politically correct like the NFL always has to be, unfortunately, these days. And I think that causes some of that watered down stuff, and I appreciate all the compliments that people leave, whether it be an SFL or PX1, talking about how man, I think you're better than Joe Buck and Troy Aikman, or man, I just watched the Cowboys game and I fell asleep. Like, well, part of that is just because of the Cowboys, but they just add a dynamic about the broadcast and amongst themselves, and I think that's what I try to bring every night, and I try to, for myself, I always tell myself, hey, if we can do this for a video game with players that are representations of the actual players, you're telling me that we can't do this when actual players are in front of us, and there's a crew and a staff there that can handle all sorts of things that we have to hash out before we go on the air, and that's the approach that I try to bring. Hey, it's not a video game when I go on the air. It's like it's Sunday Night Football, and I'm sure Mike feels the same way. But those commentators jump out at me personally, just because I like the dynamicness, the teamwork, the excitement, and the energy.
I guess we could ask Mike the same question. What about yourself? You got any preference or favorites out there as far as commentators?
Well, I don't know if you guys are gonna like my answer. I'm from Dallas, Fort Worth, so obviously I was a huge Troy Aikman fan growing up, and I actually like his color commentary. And I always see on Twitter people hate Troy Aikman. I'm like, maybe it's because he has somewhat of a cowboy bias, and I just don't see it because I grew up around there, and I'm a big fan of his. But I like Joe Buck and Troy Aikman, and Chris Collinsworth, like he pointed out, I think is one of, if not the best, color guys in the game. And of course, going back to being a kid, I mean, I was a big baseball fan, so Vin Scully and Jack Buck were really big. And I think some of my Joe Buck love comes from listen to his dad and kind of a family thing. But one thing I want to touch on what Cam said is how he looks at it as it's not a video game when he goes on, and that's one of the things that really impressed me when we first met up and we started working together is the way he approaches it is very professional, and he helps me be a lot more relaxed and focused on what we're doing. And I think a lot of that, chemistry that you guys hear is kind of derived off of, the way he looks at it and the way he goes about it and the kind of the way he directs it. He is kind of the director of the way things are going. I'm just kind of filling in the blanks. And it's, I think, getting to people with similar mindsets that, have similar ideals about things and can interact with each other is kind of rare. And I think we were both fortunate to kind of wind up in the same city together and come across each other and do this. But I just wanted to touch on that a little bit because that plays a big role into it. And, I think we each try to take a little bit of these guys that we like into it and see how they work with their partners. And we try to do the same thing.
Yeah, man. Well, I'll say this real quick. I got a quick question for y'all, but just to chime in on who I like, I agree with both of you guys. I actually like Troy and Joe, but Collinsworth grew on me too, man. It's like Cam said, it's something about how they work together. Like, I like his honesty. Like, I love when he says stuff like, I don't know what they were thinking right there. Like on that Indianapolis fake punt situation. Like, just his like, for realness, if that's a word, just honesty, like what are they doing? Like that kind of stuff I love because it lets me know that he's really a human being, he's not just following a script. And then I saw a special on him, how he prepares. It definitely gave me way more respect. So I actually like Collinsworth as well, man. But quick question I have for you guys, and I know this is the number one question by the community. And Cam, you can reply first, and then Mike, you can give your reply. Obviously, we've all been thinking, what if these guys did something with Madden? Is that, if the opportunity even came, is that something first and foremost that you would be willing to do? And also, I guess I'm saying, is that something that you could do? Like, do you have the ability to lend some type of hand if they were to say, hey, we want to use you guys for this segment, or we want to use, a big portion of your commentary style in the game? Is that something that you guys are willing to do and can do as far as scheduling things like that? Cam?
Well, it's certainly something that we would be willing to look into for sure. I mean it's Madden. It sells millions of copies. I think that the reason why it's so successful, and EA really needs to, honestly, they really need to look into how the commentary is worked into the game, because I think something that is attractive about having, real people actually do professional play-by-play and color commentaries, because when you're actually playing the video game, you really don't get that experience. You get a robotic sort of choppy, you got to run your routes, to the sticks 50 times, and it's like, yeah, Phil, we get it. And I think that if to some degree, if Mike and I were in the game and we were doing play-by-play and color in the way that the system is brought out, I feel like people, every time Mike said something similar, would lose their expletive, and they just throw the remote. Like, stop telling me that. I'm tired. Stop saying that. And so, I don't know. I'm sure as a community-based commentary team, I'm sure that would be a pretty interesting selling point. But if the system in the way that it's presented isn't at least attempted to be adjusted, I don't know how much different we will end up sounding. Now, depending upon, what anybody's sort of vision is on that subject, you never know. And it doesn't have to be, play-by-play in color. It can be, plays or calling, different league Super Bowls or commercials or what have you, whatever whatever the interest is there. But I mean, we would certainly. I don't think anyone's going to look at a major gaming company and turn their nose up at them. You want to hear what they have to say.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that too. I mean, if we had the opportunity to work with EA, that would be amazing. They probably want Cam more than they do me, because he's kind of the voice that carries the show. But no, I mean, and it's the one thing, we've had these conversations for years with EA games. I mean, it's always the one thing that the community has a hard time with, because that's one of the things that's always going to happen. If you have one commentary team, it is going to get repetitive the more you play it. And for hardcore guys like us that play hundreds of games every year, we're going to hear the same thing over and over. And as Cam alluded to, it doesn't matter who you bring in, they're all going to kind of feel repetitive after a while, because there's limitations in how they can program it. So, I mean, while we would love to be involved in that, and I mean, if there's ways to do multiple commentary teams in there, I don't know what their limitations are technically with that. That would be something that would be awesome to look at, and certainly give the community something they want. One thing I think I would like us to do, and Cam kind of touched on it about doing different league Super Bowls and stuff like that, I think if we can find a way that we can reach out and tap into it differently, like, if there are technical limitations, we can't add multiple commentary teams and stuff like that, but we could, get involved with different leagues, and we could, do that for different people. I think that would be something that could get a lot more people involved and get our experience or that kind of way we do things out to the masses and get more people involved and allow them to enjoy it, for their leagues and stuff like that. I think that would be, maybe the way that could go and touch people the most up front.
Also, I want to bring something up. Something that I've always thought and wished that Madden had is the ability to, let's just throw out an example. If you're not the National Game of the Week, then you get us. You get me and Mike calling your game. If you're the National Game of the Week, whether you're on ESPN, NBC, CBS, or Fox, you get that crew. Now, because there would be more crews actually programmed into the game, there wouldn't be as many lines, but you wouldn't need as many lines because you wouldn't be hearing them as often, and you would have the ability to select which commentary crew you wanted before the game. So if you're playing with the Cowboys and you're tired of hearing Joe Buck and Troy Aikman just because they're starting to get repetitive, then you can change it and listen to Jim and Phil for a while and hear their back and forth and be able to adjust that. And I'm sure for EA, it's a money thing. I mean, it's always a money thing. I mean, you're going to have to pay big time people, money fourfold and try to figure that out. But if there was a way for them to pull off something similar to where you could sort of take, the current crew and put in a new crew and sort of build on it year after year and be able to have it, sort of cycle through in the game, I think that would add a lot of variety and a lot of interest. But, that's hey, as I said at the beginning, this stuff that they're doing is hard. This is hard stuff, and whether or not that's tangible and can be pulled off, I have absolutely no idea. But I know that through a video game and hearing that repetitiveness, when people turn on a PX1 broadcast or an SFL broadcast, they never hear stuff again. It's not repetitive. I mean, yeah, me and Mike and I are going to have our similar styles, and we're going to say similar phrases and similar things, and people get used to that. But you're not going to hear, he should have run that route past the sticks said exactly the same way. It's different, and that's what is entertaining about it. It's an entertaining product, and you don't necessarily get that entertainment when it's canned. And, how do you fix that on the surface of Madden? I don't really know if there's an actual way, but if there's a way to take, specific crews who go around and sort of give a spice of life to commentary, they're always talking about DLC. If you want to pay $10 to have your Super Bowl actually commentated by real people and not by, Jim and Phil, just like every single one of your other games has been all season, why wouldn't somebody purchase that? It's just stuff like that. And I'm sure they've thought about this before too, but that's my take on it.
Yeah, great. I think we've said that as well, because I think I had the idea, which was very similar, that gym and field would only be used for big games. So if it was Monday Night Football, Thursday Night Football, Sunday Night Football, then you would hear, gym and field, and they could basically use the commentary that was there. But for bringing in guys like yourself, talented individuals within the community, because I don't know if you all know who forgive me if I mispronounced it, but Eros, he does.
Yes.
So he's another individual that you can use that's in the community. You can pull on the community to get individuals in, voice talent who can do this. And even if they want to go back and pull, from 2K's tree of paying voice actors and get people in there to do it, I think it could be done. But like you said, we don't know. It's hard work. It's like you said, for to type in some HTML and make your head hurt. And then you got to get that to work in the game and not break stuff that's currently in game as well. But I did want to, ask a question to both of you all. And Cam, you can answer it first, or Mike, however.
Did Mike did you get to respond to that last question?
What was the last question? So about he mentioned that we did this.
Hey, I just want to make sure, bud. That's all.
I appreciate it. I thought so. I didn't feel like I was. I thought you guys covered everything.
Yeah, he did. I think the last one was about working for EA. Yeah.
All right, let Mike go first then on that.
All right, Mike, you can go first. I just want, especially, I want to hear this from you. And it'll probably be somewhat repetitive of what we said with you being able to speak to this as a commissioner. What do you think it is that's missing, connecting people to CFM and getting more people to try CFM? Because to me, the meat of the game of Madden is CFM. You don't get the experience from Play Now, Draft Champion, but the real football experience, like Sim has said, if they want to branch it off and call it NFL experience, is CFM, because you see progression. You go through the draft and you do multiple years and all that. What do you think that's missing that I guess is maybe it's commissioning? To me, I think having good leagues and places to play, but how can we connect people and get them in good CFM so that they stay? Because right now, people are more enthralled with playing just by themselves, ultimate team, draft champions, and not so much CFM and getting in leagues and participating. Because I just won a Super Bowl in a 32-man league that I've been playing with guys of 6 years, and I haven't been to the Super Bowl since Madden 10. I would have loved for Cameron and yourself to commentate that. I went on a historic run. I went 18-1 versus you in the Super Bowl, so I would have loved to hear that commentated historically. But Mike, just the question again, what do you think is missing to connect people to CFM and get people more engaged?
Well, first off, if you guys are looking for somebody to do commentary, we are potentially open. We could talk about that. I know Smitty mentioned that once before on Twitter. He was like, real talk, like y'all need to open yourselves up to that. And we talked about that, so we'll be open to it. I think it would be great. I mean, this is something we love to do, and if it's a mutually beneficial opportunity for between the leagues and us, we would love to do that. As far as that question is something that has been brought up so many times, and I've actually wrote a couple articles on the website about it. And if you go back and look at Madden sales numbers from like the mid 2000s to now, they were back in like the 10-12 million range, and now now I think last year it was like around 6 million. So they've lost like a good portion of their sales numbers. And a lot of people say that MUT or live whatever is really what drives the game, and maybe it is now, and maybe things are changing. But if you go back and look at it back then, we were all playing the game back then. We didn't have MUT. live head-to-head games were barely. I don't even think they were going back then, or if they did, it was really in the infancy. Like, what sold the games back then was the franchise mode and stuff like Superstar mode. And, I think having NCAA around kind of helped sell too, because people like to import their draft classes. But I think, and I don't know, you guys are way more into this stuff than we are, and you know more of the stuff behind the scenes. But I think that, if they put out a really good franchise mode, and you look back at, when they had the Tony Bruno show on there, and you had, and that got repetitive after a while, but you had the Tony Bruno show, and you had, different players and coaches calling in, and it was just a different thing to immerse you into the franchise mode. And you look at MLB is doing stuff like that now. They started adding in a radio show like that and different commentary, and they're trying, a lot of these companies are trying to get back to that. I think, part of it is giving the user an immersive experience when they're in there. Obviously leagues like ours come along and it makes it great for, dedicated users like us. But, the vast majority of the people out there, every time I look on there, there's like 1.5 million leagues on each system. And they're not all 32-man leagues. Most of those are like guys playing solo leagues, and they're just using the cloud to play their league or whatever. And,
right. Yeah.
How do you get those guys more involved, and how do you get, these people that quit playing more involved? I think part of it is, a true superstar mode would help. Giving more stuff inside the actual franchise mode, like radio shows or more commentary. And from a commissioner standpoint, one thing I always wanted is more controls over how we're able to control,
right.
When we have a franchise, if we
need that app.
Huh?
I said we need that app that, we can be able to control stuff on the go as well. I know just for me, like, when you leave the console, that's it. Website, but that's not as good as having an actual app that connects you to your league.
Yeah, there's so much now with the way technology is going, and of course how much of it's easy to do and feasible for their team or whatever. But for commissioners alone, I know one thing that kills our experience that we go through is you get people in there that don't really play the way you do, or they do things. They start. We've had guys last year that come in that didn't like that they got critiqued for their gameplay, and then they went and released their whole team, and because they were trying to punish us for punishing them. You know what I mean? Like, and stuff like that. Like, we need, and that ruins it for people. And it's hard to recover from that. You need a really strong league to be able to recover from that. But I'm sure there's leagues that are far less structured than the kind of leagues that you guys and we run. But allowing stuff like that to happen is a problem. Allowing teams to go over a certain cap penalty or cut guys over a certain overall and stuff like that creates issues where, it's getting where it's so in depth now that it's hard for a lot of people to manage. And if we had more tools in there that allowed us to kind of moderate what some of these newer guys could do until they get more into it, I think that would help. But it's a complex question. I don't think there's an easy answer to it. There's a lot of different things that are all possible, but I think personally, I think if you make the gameplay great and, people aren't logging on and facing, all guys running forwards and halfback tosses 20 times a game, I think that's the biggest part is, figuring out how to get the gameplay to a point where you can limit a lot of that stuff, and I think the rest of it kind of just naturally would follow along. I don't know if
Cam, did you have anything to add?
Kind of.
Yeah. So I kind of have a different look at it because unlike Mike, who owns the game, plays the game, runs a league on the game, I don't own the game, I don't play the game, and honestly, I don't play any more video games anymore because all I'm ever doing is watching them and doing commentary because, Mike pulled me out of my off season, and now I'm doing stuff for him, and now it's like a year-round thing. So I don't get to play anymore. But that's okay. But I see things from sort of that outside, and I see Madden, and Mike talked about it, the millions of people that used to play and now they don't anymore, and this concept of, well, it's same old Madden. And while some of that is true, most of it's not, and most of that is placed in the wrong department. It's not the same old Madden. It's the same old people running 4 verts. And it never stops. It doesn't matter what Madden it is. There are still people out there who are going to play Madden and not play football. And that's where people get the thought of, well, same old Madden. Because when they go online and they play somebody, they don't find their experience to be realistic football, not because Madden is a bad game, but because whatever Yahoo they were playing wasn't playing good, smart, sound, technical football. And so I think that you see a lot of people sort of go into their own shell, so to speak, because I think that the CPU, on average, does a better job of replicating sim football than anybody that you play online, or most people that you play online. So people end up going into their own shell and being in CFM leagues by themselves or with just a couple of friends or whatever, because they get tired of playing these games where, Z spot to the tight end gets them a first down every third down, and 4 verts is run over the middle all the time when they need a big play in the last 2 minutes. You see similar stuff year after year, and you think, same old man, it's not fun anymore. But there's not as many PX1s out there where people understand that, hey, that's really the real problem. The real problem is not that the game is bad. The real problem is that have a lot of people out there that want to play football anymore. They just want to win in Madden. They just want to win. What do I got to do to win? And so when people just want to play football and they don't necessarily want to win, they just want to play a good game, and they're always losing because they're not playing to beat Madden, it's frustrating. So they stop playing. And the first thing to do to help fix that is to obviously, continue to tweak gameplay. But hey, it's a video game. It's never gonna. You can't take exploits completely out. They're always going to be there. It's up to the user in what they do with it from a realistic value. And there's a lot of people out there that don't care. They don't care about realistic football. They just want to play football in any form, and they want to win. And that's appealing to a lot of people. That's why Draft Champions, on the outside has been so successful, because people just get to pick a team, get out there and win. And that's not necessarily helping the cause of sim football and connected franchise and all that. But I think that with a more conscious effort by specific users and specific leagues out there to sort of understand that, hey, if we play fundamentally sound football, we're going to have good games. This is going to be a lot of fun. You have to buy in to, hey, that guy's open. Well, he's always open. So just, throw it to him once and go somewhere else. Play football, don't play Madden. And I think that I know I've been beating that horse dead tonight, but really, I think that's the biggest problem. And, you can't fix people. You can't fix their competitive spirit in just wanting to win. It's a lost cause. But Madden can do some things to tighten up some gameplay issues to where it's harder to win like that. And maybe people will start playing a little better because they have to, because it won't work anymore. They'll keep playing that way until it stops working. And if it never stops working, then it's just the same old man.
Oh man, time goes so fast, man. It's already 9:24, and I know we definitely got to leave room for callers. We got 3 already in the queue. Man, I just want to say this, and I'm sure you guys won't mind. I think we're going to have you guys back on, as soon as you can. If you can come next week or the week after or whenever you're available, because I like the way this conversation went tonight, and I'd like to ask, more questions from you guys outside of, now everyone knows what you do with the commentary. But I think I could tell from both of you guys, Cam, with you here on the phone, and and with Mike back and forth on Twitter, I think you guys have a lot of ideas that I would like everyone else to hear that don't know you guys. So just let me know when you're able to come back on. I think we need to do this again. And, if we have to, maybe we'll do a show where it's just us on, and, maybe the callers, just won't be able to call that night because we're having such good dialogue. But before you guys go, please, again, just let everyone know where they can find you guys, via Twitter, where your sites are, and, as well as your YouTube channels. Go ahead, Cam.
All right, well, SimulationFL.com, Twitter at SimulationFL. We got a growing follower base there. Our sixth season begins in early January, first week of the NFL playoffs, and we'll be we're on the air every Monday in the off season at 6 to make off season announcements like signings and transactions and announcing the schedule and all that stuff. Just trying to, again, continue to give people an immersive experience. So that's what we do. And until January comes around, Mike and I will be on the PX1 Sports dial doing some Madden.
Yeah,
Mike.
You can find us. You can find me. It's px1sports.com is the website. If you guys are hardcore sim guys and you guys are looking for a league and you want to be a part of this, we still potentially have some spots open. You guys can check us out. We have a sign-up link on the website. You can follow us at PX1 Sports on Twitter. You can follow me at RealMajesty95. And then we're also on Facebook /PX1 Sports. You can find us there too. I want to say first, we appreciate you guys having us on, and it's a lot of fun. I always enjoy dialoguing with you guys on Twitter, and I'd be more than happy to come back and talk to you guys again about Madden and sports games in general. And, if Cam has the time, I'm sure he would too. And it's been a lot of fun, and we appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. We definitely appreciate it. But this is what we promote. It's all about the community. And like I said, man, we want this show to grow into a community effort instead of always being, it's almost like what you guys said about Madden, hearing the same commentary over and over. We want it to be about us all that are doing something. I think you guys are great examples. It's just a place where everybody can talk and have different dialogue, and the devs listen to this stuff. We have the platform. As you guys know, Rex jumped into your stream. We have the platform now where get people's voices heard that are actually doing something in the community. I want to emphasize that. People who are actually doing something for the community deserve to be heard. And, yeah, man, whenever you guys want to come back, feel free. So I guess we'll go ahead and sign off now, guys. Again, man, we appreciate you guys coming on. Y'all have my contact.
Definitely.
Hit me up, send me a DM or what have you. If y'all want to get into phone communication, we can do all of that as well. But we definitely want to get you guys back. And before we open it up for callers, guys, let me just preference, we have 31 minutes. Let's all be quick. Our responses as well as your questions, we're going to bring 757 on first like we always do. But, again, it's only 31 minutes. We have 757, 205, and 267. Let's just make sure we give each other time. The only last thing I want to say before we bring 757 in, the theme tonight, guys, you heard what Cam kept saying. If you play the game the way it's supposed to be played, he said you can get great games and a great experience. That's what it's all about. That's it in a nutshell. I don't even have to say anything behind that because y'all should understand his point. All right, so let's go ahead and get 757 in. Get everybody in. 757, man, what's going on with you tonight, man? We got you on.
What's going on, fellas? This is the reason why I called in the very first place. I really felt this kind of energy in the guys that really wanted to help this game become the greatest football game that it possibly can be. I listened to those guys and their commentary, and I looked at their YouTube, and listen to them talk. It would be a blessing and an unbelievable experience if we could potentially get them in the Sim Standard League and have them commentate as many games as possible. I think that would be an unbelievable experience. But I think we all are saying something to Madden and to the DAF team that at this point we want them to take more calculated risk. That we want more commentary. We want some of the tweaks that need to be done into the gameplay to be done. I'm in a 32-man league, and it would be nice to play. I know what I'm going to get when I get in the Sim Standard League. But in my other league, where I'm a co-commissioner, we have some savages. It is what it is. We got some guys that will do anything to win a game. They really do. And there's some OP routes that are in the game that they know it's OP. They know it's a very difficult thing to stop. But what I would like Madden to do is to give us a same play option. In actual games, we realize that this is the same formation. It looks like it's going to be the same play. We'll call a signal. A couple of signals that I used to have was Jurassic. That means clone. That means same play. I start pointing in the air as a linebacker, and that's the same exact play. Now, it can be something that's a modified R2, L2 at the same time, and something to flick on the screen and say that we're rolling the dice. We think that this is the exact same pass play that they've been running majority of the game, and those guys play those routes a little better, a little tighter, and potentially get a pick. Now, if I guess wrong, I guess wrong. But what I would like to do is have the option to have the ability to stop some of the stuff that is virtually almost impossible to stop at this point. Now, I send and text you guys all the time. I send AZ stuff every chance I get about stuff that's going on.
Yes, sir.
My thing is, when this takes place, you got to give us an option. The frustration isn't against the player that we're playing. The frustration is that we don't have another tool to stop the shenanigans and force them to do something else, force them to dig deeper into their playbook. Now, I know Madden gets a little nervous because they don't want to eliminate the casual player who just wants to come on and have fun. And that is fine. But if CFM is our place of comfort, if CFM is our place of simulation football, then let it be that. Let's really go all in and give us every tool that we possibly can in order to get what we want out of the video game through the commissioners and the rules that are set in place. And I think if they do that, then we'll be a little more comfortable. We'll be able to stop some of the shenanigans. I just want a tool to be able to slow it down. I want some type of tool that you can't sit there and run C routes and zig routes on me all game because you know it's going to freeze my DB. Or you're not going to sit there and run a stop motion play knowing that it's going to freeze the system. It's going to freeze the system and cause that corner route, and there's nothing I can do about it because my safety is acting like he hasn't seen that route all night. That's the frustrated piece for me. And I think that's a frustration for a lot of things. Just give us the tools and continue to really push it and not pull it back. Make the calculated risk that a lot of other video games do and are okay with it. My motto has been, and it would not change for me. If it's okay to have a simulation-based game in baseball and it's okay to pitch a no-hitter, it should be okay for you to have to figure out how to read these defenses and run plays. If it's okay for you to really have to figure out how to play FIFA, and I'm pretty sure some shenanigans in it, but then I don't think it's as much as it is in Madden, and you really have to know how to play soccer in order to beat somebody, then why is it not okay for those same type of situations to take place in football? Football is not an easy game. As a quarterback, the moment that you drop back and snap the ball, you got to read the defense. You got to hope your offensive line holds up. Do I keep my back end? Do I keep my tight end back? What is the coverage they're trying to do? Are they rolling them? Are they manning me? Are they playing cover 2, cover 3, cover 6, and being able to make the right read? And when I don't make the right read, I understand fully it's because I didn't tap the button, didn't double tap and throw it over the linebacker. Or I didn't see that safety coming down to the curler flat, and I made a bad read. And I want that to be part of the movement moving forward. Give us the tool and don't change them. I don't want no more for you guys to come and say, we here, we got it, here it is, and then by week 2, they done pull half of it out. We don't want that. And if you do pull it out, don't pull it out of CFM. Pull it out of all the regular stuff. But if the CFM, give us the mode that we want in every aspect that we want it. Commentary, gameplay, on the field action, crowd noise, home field advantages, wide receiver DB interactions, quarterback inaccuracy, having to draft a left tackle because he sucks, etc., etc., etc. And to the guys, especially you, that's a fan of the Detroit Lions, I think one of the biggest things that is frustrating with them is I think they took on the personality of their coach. I've always thought that he was a good coach, but I always thought he was too passive. I think you have to have a couple of guys, quite a few guys on your team with bad intentions. Not to hurt nobody, but I'm going to make you feel as much pain as I possibly can every time you catch it or run it. And missing Sue and Fairley and letting both of them get out of there, they're not having great seasons where they are. But I think had you kept one of those guys, I think with one of them and Aloy Naka, it would be a little bit better. I just don't like the energy that coach has. I think that he's too passive. I think that he micromanages a lot of stuff in that locker room. And I played on defense for defensive coordinators to get pissed every time you get a call, whether if it hurts the team or not. And I played for coaches to say, man, play balls to the wall and let me deal with all the rest of the shenanigans. And if you don't hurt us and you inflict intimidation onto your opponent, that's all I can ask for. Fellas, I appreciate everything that y'all do. I want y'all to continue to bang on that table and please get us as close to what we've been asking for up to this point, and I know you guys are working your butt off to do so. And that's all we can ask. But we're going to get in a little uproar. I'm gonna bust 2 in the air and start. We're really going to be pissed off, fellas, if we go to 17 and we got it, and then halfway through week 1, they pulling it out. We're going to start raising a little sand if they start doing that. Because now, what are we doing? We're taking 2 steps forward to take 2 steps back. Fellas, I appreciate your time, and thank you for allowing me to speak.
Well, like always, man, you already know how we feel. And, your commentary requires no response. Everybody knows. Everybody loves that segment. And most of the time we agree with each and every word, just like we do tonight. So we're definitely going to move on, guys. Right now we're at 21 minutes, so we have to keep it real quick. And I mean, even like our responses might need to just be like 1-sentence replies or whatever. We got to hurry up, man, because I've seen calls come in. Some calls have dropped. We don't want that to happen. We want everybody to get a chance. Right now, I actually skipped one. We have 520 who's been waiting the longest, then 267, and 205 has asked to be the last caller. All right, so again, let me stop wasting time. 520, you'll come in. Smitty will reply. Azul will reply to 267. I'll reply to 205. And again, for all of us, callers and responders, let's just keep it quick to make sure everyone has time. 520, we got you in, man. What's going on?
Hey, what's up? I'm going to be real quick. I just wanted to say, just to go back on what y'all were talking about when you were talking to Majesty and Cameron, that I think some of the appeal to the CFM, because I think one of you asked the question about why is it that CFM doesn't get, you think people don't buy Madden. And I think part of it is that, people don't like Madden. And mind you, I've had every Madden. A lot of people don't like it, and people who were buying it before, they get frustrated in a lot of frustrations that people talk about. But, you do have places like PX1 and other places as well that, do appeal to people who like playing SimBall. But, in CFM you have the whole day-to-day aspect. Like, I got to play this person in my division again. You got to think about how to strategize against him. And then, week to week and then season to season, like building your team for the future. And that's kind of like a goal that I think a lot of people who play CFM, they get into. And then, to go back on the EA commentary, I've been saying for years, and I don't have the ear of people in EA, but there should be more than one crew, because the biggest problem, because another question I was asked is, would they do, being Madison and Cameron, would they do if EA was to ask them? And part of their thing is, like, they do it live, and I think that's part of where the dynamic comes in. But if EA asked them to be in the game, there's no way that they could do that, because they're doing canned, just like you see in the game. And I think there should be more than one crew that comes with Madden. I shouldn't hear Chris Collinsworth I don't think Chris Collinsworth does a bad job. I think everybody who commented says at one point they didn't like Chris Collinsworth. But I think that when you hear him, you play a couple hundred games, you don't want to hear the same commentary, a couple hundred games. Every time a quarterback comes out on the field, I got to hear, he's a wily veteran or whatever. I don't want to hear that every game, So, but you should have like a Monday night crew, a Thursday night crew, a Sunday night crew, and then a regular Sunday, daytime crew. Have 4 or 5 different teams that are in the game, and then like if you play a play now, or whatever, you can actually pick who you want to commentate on your game. So at least you get a little bit of variety. But if you have the same 2 commentaries and you play a couple hundred games, like most people do, at some point it's going to get very repetitive and very annoying, in which it does. I think anybody who plays Madden would tell you that it's annoying. And honestly, I don't think that the commentary is bad. I just think that when you play so many games, it gets annoying because you're hearing the same thing over and over, and you don't have that live aspect. So I think that, that would be huge if they do that. And it could be a money thing, because I don't know how much they're getting paid, but I'm pretty sure Chris Collinsworth is getting compensated, obviously. I think everybody knows that. And if you do that for everybody, it could simply be a money thing. I don't think it would be hard to have different commentary. And there are also other things that in live commentary that you don't get, because as you pointed out, if Majesty points out, well, this guy has this style, well, when they're recording the game, they don't know that. But, in live commentary, you have that. So there are certain dynamics that you can't have if you're not doing it live. And obviously, when you're playing Madden, they can't program that into the game. They can't program live commentary into the game. That's not possible. But, that's all I wanted to say. But I do want to say that you guys do a great job, too. Peace.
All right, man. Well, thanks a lot. First of all, thanks a lot for calling in. We appreciate you, of course, for calling in to the show. But with your point, I feel it should be like, I like the commentary aspect of it, but then also it needs to be like how they had it in NCAA 10, how you had multiple networks. You had ESPN and CBS networks, and I think they had 2 sets of commentator teams. But, yet even though the commentary got repetitive, still it was a nice switch between the 2. Like if the game was higher stakes, you had the bigger networks. You know what I'm saying? So that would be a nice dynamic to see brought into Madden, where you can have, like a generic commentary team, but then for the big games, your Thursday and Sunday night football games, playoffs, etc., you'll have the the bigger team, the more known teams, and the bigger network coverage and the graphic overlays and et cetera, that kind of stuff. So,
yep, agree 100%, man. That definitely needs to happen if it can happen to some degree.
Right.
All right, moving on. 267, we got you in live. What's going on, man?
Fellas, what's happening? Listen, I was calling in because I had tweeted you earlier this week, Sim, letting you know about these sliders that I had came up with for Madden 16, and it really rejuvenated the game for me. You feel me? It really rejuvenated the game for me, man. I'm having a whole lot of fun with it. Like I said, when you slow the game down, I heard somebody say this a lot of times. If you put the game speed on slow, you get a better game. It feels great. I'm still going to send you those sliders. I don't really have too much to say. It was a great show today. I'm still going to get you those sliders, and I just want y'all to try them out just to see, what y'all think about it. But I did get a couple of responses from when you retweeted, so I'm gonna send it to those guys too, and see how what type of response that I get. But you get cleaner animations. It doesn't feel like that like I said, you can get the running backs to the outside now. You feel me? It just seemed like the faster backs are able to get to the outside.
Yo, 267. Hello.
We might have lost him. I'm here.
Yeah, I think we lost him. But I know exactly what you're saying, man. Definitely shoot that to us. Shoot us the sliders, and let's go ahead and move on. We'll grab the next call. We did get another call. I know 205 wants to be last, so we'll take 214. And AZ, you can go ahead and hit the reply on that one. 214, we got you on live. What's going on, man?
Hey, I just wanted to call in and talk about it real quick with Mike and Cam. I'm part of the PX1 community, and I've loved since this has come on. And I played with the Browns, so surprise, I didn't make the playoffs. And they started commentating with the playoffs. And the one thing that gets me is they have all their stuff ready. They throw stats out there like it's no business. And we had a game in the divisional playoffs that was kind of out of control. It was a little bit of a blowout. Not going to throw any teams out there, throw anybody under the bus, but they steered the conversation. That's the stuff that you never see, and I loved it. They started talking about Colin Kaepernick and his future with the 49ers to keep people interested, and it's just stuff like that. And I just want to throw two kudos to these guys. They're doing a great job, and I love what they do. That's all I got.
I appreciate the call and the quick. I give you a quick response, man. I think it's an honor, to have them and add immersion to your league like that. Hopefully, they can do some stuff for Sim Standard. They don't have to do it every week, but maybe if we can get them for the playoffs, like you said, or maybe the Sim Standard Radio League Super Bowl, I think that would be awesome as well, because it just adds another layer of immersion, and with you having users like that, if you have a full league, that makes it even better, man. But yeah, they do a great job. So thanks for the call, and feel free to call back anytime, man.
They do a wonderful job, and look at that, man. We said be quick, and we rolled through everybody, and we still got 12 minutes left. So 205, we're going to assume that you're the last call, so we'll bring you in right now. And then after that, I'm sure we have a couple things that we can talk about. I want to read a comment the guy left on my video in regards to Madden if we have time, and I'll tell you what the relevance of that is. Ironically, now after hearing this show, it's crazy how it ties into my point. But let's get 205 in quick. Let's not waste time. 205, we got you in. What's going on tonight, man?
Pretty good, man. I'm going to get right to this since we kind of running short tonight. But this isn't about Madden, 2K, or even the guys that y'all had on tonight. And no disrespect to them, because I loved everything they was talking about. But I found out something that has really got my interest really up, and it's about the new Nintendo console. So before y'all call me crazy and tell me I'm lost my mind, I'm going to put this out here because it's actually been put out in the Wall Street Journal, and Game Trailers has actually took and done research on it, and they've actually done this. So I'm going to talk about it, and if I get called crazy, I get called crazy. So, but here we go. The new console that they're supposed to be working on is under the codename NX. Well, from what I found out, it's supposed to be a more powerful console than even the PS4 and the Xbox One. And before you call me crazy, it can really be done, because they went low in on the PS4 and Xbox. And even with the PC dropping in prices to where you don't have to pay $2,000 anymore to get a great PC, you could pay around $500 or $600, even $700. And for this to happen, and for everything that is falling into place with them talking to EA and having third party that they're wanting to move on to get away from the kiddie, side of everything, and the soccer moms, and they're wanting to bring in third party support, and they're actually having talks right now with EA, Activision, and a bunch of different third party, console gaming support and everything like that. They're having big talks right now, and their system is supposedly supposed to launch by next year, and we're supposed to hear something at E3. I'm really kind of excited for this, because this really could be the ground floor for us as gamers, not only as gamers, but as sim guys, to have that, a true console war between three companies. And if you have that, and it's a more powerful console, how do you come back at them? Well, you have to have better exclusives. You have to have first-party support exclusives. That's great. And I think that could really help us as sports gamers if you have that. That could really bring in a next generation of console gaming as far as first-party support with sports. That would be awesome to me. And I'm not trying to just bring this out here to tell everybody to lose their mind, because I'm still not jumping off a cliff. But just to hear this and to hear the things that's being talked about, and game trailers, guys have actually been talking about it and doing interviews on YouTube about it, it's really got my interest. I really just want to put that out there. I'm really excited to hopefully we have that, you know, back in the day when the Super Nintendo versus Genesis and everything. And I still have some more stuff I want to talk about this next week, but, I mean, y'all can call me crazy, raise an eyebrow, whatever, but I really hope this happens, because if it does, it can truly help us as gamers. You know, you have a great Nintendo console again. And I grew up with Nintendo, so, I mean, I would love to see them come back and be that great gaming console again, because they was always, you know, so they always was about the gamers. And even when people ditched them and went to Sony and Xbox, a lot of people followed Nintendo. And so Nintendo still makes a lot of money. And that's all I really have. I hope I didn't ruin y'all's show with that. Y'all have a great night, man.
No, that was good, man. Real good. And yeah, I can't. There's nothing I can say bad about that. The only thing I will say real quick though, I definitely want to expand on that next week. That might be a topic that we can build around and pick up. I want to say this real quick though, just to throw it out there to you guys. It would be great to have the console, competition and things like that. But this is one thing that I've learned with dealing with, not just EA, but even talking to other developers and other companies. It won't help as much as you think in terms of the product. Because just to give you a quick example, let's say this new console blows the doors off of Xbox One and PS4. The company is not going to overproduce on that console. It's not going to do what it can't do on the other console. Trust me when I tell you that. If it's an exclusive, maybe if it's Nintendo Sports or something like that, cool. But let's just say Madden, for example. If the Nintendo, the NX or whatever it's going to be called, could do things that the PS4 and Xbox One can't do, it's not going to give us a different game on that console. They're not going to do that. And some of you guys probably could figure out why. I know 757 will pick up on it right away. But like I said, I've heard this from other developers, because it's been questions that I've had, when they were saying the Xbox One is inferior to the PS4. The PS4 has more power, blah, 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 blah. But I've been told by several people, it don't matter, because we're in partnership with all of these brands. We're not going to make this mega game on one console and we can't do the same on the other. Business don't work like that. So to that regard, like I said, we'll go more into that next week. But in that regard, it would be interesting, because you could have a situation where the Nintendo has so much unleashed power in a game that we all play, whatever the game would be. But if it's on those other consoles, it might not be, but so much more better, so to speak, because it just can't overshadow, because that kills money for everybody, if you understand what I'm saying. But it's just something to think about, man. But like I said, I want to pick up on that next week. That's a great topic. Real quick, guys, we have 5.5 minutes left. I want to read this comment real quick. And the reason why I'm reading it, it goes along with what Smitty said tonight, what Cam said tonight, what Azua said tonight about finding your fishbowl and swimming in it. And more importantly, everyone has a different opinion. I want y'all to listen to this. I put up a video today, my little 30-second Thursday. I'm not going to say his name because that doesn't matter. But this is what the guy said about Madden. I've been listening to you for a long time. By all means, get your bread. The truth of the matter is this game is garbage. It's a garbage football game. This engine is obsolete. It is clear you can only do so much with the structure of this game engine. EA is too afraid to develop a new game engine, so they tweak the same game over and over again. They add something, and then they take it out the next year. I bought this year's game and have played it 6 times. There's nothing new and exciting about this game. I leave it to my sons. When a 9-year-old can play a game and compete with grown men, it shows the dumbing down of the game. A football game where a while back ago, it said, well, basically what he's saying, it was a little bit of a typo there, but a while back, it used to be a football game about skills and knowledge, and it meant something. Mashing a button to make a play, this franchise is so far out the loop, it's a shame. Exploits and button mashing. SimFootball, this game as it stands, is obsolete with the game engine. They must start fresh and convert a new audience, yet greed will never allow that. Greed will never allow that. They have no passion towards this product, and it shows. Now, the point I just want to make real quick, guys, like I said, we don't have time to go into that. Maybe we can talk about that next week as well. But you listen to this show. You've heard myself. You've heard Smitty. You've heard Azur. You've heard numerous other people, 757, NYKia, DJ 81, people like that, 205. You've heard Cam say it tonight. A lot of us say this game is moving in the right direction. Most of you guys who listen to the show would agree with that. All of us will agree that it's not all the way there yet. But I just wanted to show you guys how, in some people's eyes, this game hasn't done anything. Nothing new and exciting in Madden 16? Now, whether you find it exciting or not, but nothing new? Now, he makes some points. I agree. If you could be competitive as a 9-year-old against grown men, that's not good. But, like I said, it's the fishbowl again. That's what I'm trying to say. See what I'm saying? It's the fishbowl again because listen, if you play the game the way it's supposed to be played, y'all have seen it on my channel. I'm not the best Madden player. I'm definitely not the worst. But if I play the game the way I'm supposed to, I'll lose to the CPU every now and then. It'll happen. Azur went 18-1. You know where that one loss came from? The CPU.
The computer.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it just cracks me up. I respect his opinion all day. I'm not disagreeing with him as far as his opinion. I'm just saying this goes to show you why, as a whole, those of us who seek sim games and sim sports have to really fight with this movement, because you have some people who just feel like this a lost cause, and I have to disagree with that. I do not think Madden is garbage. I actually think Madden 16 is a good game. I really do, with room to improve. That's just my opinion. But, fellas, we got 2 minutes, man. Smitty and Azur, if y'all got anything quick to chime in on that.
Yeah, I'll just say basically, I mean, we can dive into it more next week, but we can apply that. We could copy and paste that on 2K, FIFA, PES, the whole nine. So that's not really that's a very draft statement. And to go to what Azura said, Azura played how many games? 18 games before he lost his CPU. This dude only played 6. So you see what I'm saying? So, I'll just cap it at that for now. But, AZ, go ahead, bro.
No, it was a great show. Thanks to Cam and Mike for coming on. Hopefully they'll come back soon. And great work that they do. And thanks for the callers that called in and enjoyed it.
Absolutely, man. I think this was definitely one of our best calls, man. Guys, again, community interaction. This is what we want. We want the show to become about you callers. If you want to be featured, as you can see, we don't mind bringing you on, if you have something to say. Let's be honest. Mm-hmm. I'm not trying to be funny, but Cam and Mike are doing something out here. They're worthy some time on the show. If you really got something you really want to talk about, and it's not, the normal bickering and all that, we'd be happy to have you on. That's where we want this show to go. All right, so before it cuts off on us, let me again thank all of you guys for calling. Thank everyone who listens, because I know a lot of you do that and you don't call in. We appreciate you just the same. And I definitely thank Mike and Cam for coming on. We'll have them on again. And like always, I thank my brothers here on the show for helping to make this another great one. We're down to 5 seconds. Finish watching some Thursday Night Football, y'all. and we see y'all next week. Peace.
Peace.
Once again, guys, thanks for coming by. And if you want to interact with me live, head on over to Sim Standard Radio every Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, along with Smitty and Azure Fact. The call-in number for the show is down in the description. Now, of course, for more content, go ahead and click the link above. And before you go, don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe. All right, guys. Until next time, lights out.